lie. So the second one is a lie. Excel can actually generate random numbers with formula. There is equal to random. You can just say equals to random and you get random numbers. All right. But Excel you cannot use ChatGPT directly inside Excel without any plugins. So what is available now is, I hope you can hear me. What is available now is Copilot in Excel, right? But not ChatGPT. So 2 is the lie. Excel can actually, it has built-in function to translate text into different languages. Yes, it actually has that. It actually has that feature. You find out that. All right, we are going to take just these two, and then after our break, we take the third icebreaker. I hope we are good. All right, almost it's only YouTube that said 2, so it's 2. I hope you can still hear me very audibly. All right, please, moderator, let me know if it's still. Let me know if you, people cannot hear me again. Thank you. All right, so let's proceed to today's class. Today, like I said, we are going to do some kind of revision about the first 2 classes. All right, we're going to do some kind of the revisions from the first 2 classes, and then that will warrant us. That's why I said we should join with our laptops. So that means we are going to do some screen sharing. I will just pick randomly. You raise your hand if you have your laptops, then, and then I'll pick randomly, and then someone shares the screen, and then, you know, show us what he has got. So I'm going to share the question very quickly. All right, but before then, let me just do a brief run through the slide, right? And now data modeling, you know, see it as, what is data modeling in Excel? You know, let's say, for example, I know some of us must have seen different kind of table. So let's say, for example, you work in a company has different departments. You have the finance department that, you know, you have this maybe salary department that pays your salary, you know, and you have the finance, I mean, that aggregate and ensure the collation of every finances of the company, the growth and everything. Then you also have the maybe sales department. Then you also have the HR department, you know, and then different departments like that, and they have their own data. Now, if an employee joins a company, right? If an employee joins a company as a new employee, you know, the HR will get the data, correct? The name, the sex, where he's coming from, his location, and every of those demographic details. Now, finance does not have that information, all right? But finance, we have maybe after 2-3 months, finance, we have his salary records, right? Okay, in January we paid him 10,000. In February we paid him 10,000. In March we paid him 10,000. You know, like that. But let's say, for example, they want to finance want to do some special, or maybe the company wants to do some special reward program for some employee in some particular regions. Say, for example, let's say, okay, people from the south, we want to give them, start from the south, we want to give them some incentives. Now, finance does not have that information. I hope you are following. Finance does not have that information. All right. They only have the salary record. Now, they will need to pull data from, they will need to ask the HR team, please, can you give us the location or the state of origin of this particular of our staff, right? So they will need to seek HR. HR will now say, okay, we cannot give you the whole of our information. We can give you what you need alone. All right. So getting that in to build something solid now, let's say they want to now build a dashboard around that, they will need information from each department. Maybe they also need maybe the sales department record, you know, everything. HR will have all those, that demographic, their name, sex, and everything. But sales will only capture what they've done on the field or what they've made. So interacting different data sets from different standpoints is what we really call data modeling. data modeling, simply like I've explained, is just being able to interact with different data sets. When you call it, what I sent you yesterday is a data set, right? When you have different data sets from different teams interacting together, that scenario is what we call data modeling. I hope that is clear. Now, you discover that in week 1, you did something about VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and the rest. Now, the Excel way of speaking to your data, right? Excel way of speaking to your data is that VLOOKUP. Remember that we did in that VLOOKUP, you had one table in maybe sheet 1, another table in sheet 2, and then you are using VLOOKUP to pull up information from sheet 1 into sheet 2. Now, that is the case. That is the case of interactions. Because let's say, for example, in sheet 1, you have HR data. All right. And in sheet 2, you have sales data, right? So salespeople want to get the demographic. When I say demographic, the details, name and everything, location and everything of their sales staff, right? They will now do equals to VLOOKUP, right? Let me just do a scenario. You have name, you have you have ID, staff ID, and you have the sales, right? And you need their location. HR has that. Remember that day we were using ID to fetch a particular location. Let's say HR now has staff ID. Of course, HR will have this, and then they have the location of each staff. All right, so ID 342 and all that, and then location A, B, like that. Now, remember that they will now said equals to VLOOKUP, and then we said look up these two, and then check this table and return column what? Return column 2. VLOOKUP takes the lookup value, the table, which is this one, the column. What you are looking for, location, is in column 2. You say column 2 and then 0, and you close. And then automatically you are able to get the location of staff ID 2, staff ID 3, even without having this table. All right. Oh, my voice is breaking. Is it from my hand? Please, someone confirm. All right. So even without having this table, right, even without sales having this HR table, we're able to pull number from HR table into sales table. That is connecting. So you've connected two tables together. But now data modeling has helped us instead of having to connect, you do VLOOKUP to pull. What if I'm pulling a lot of things? I will do another VLOOKUP, another VLOOKUP. It's easier, right? If you are just using the Excel interface, it's fine. But can we do it at an advanced level where I don't need to write VLOOKUP to join those two tables together? Then the concept of data modeling comes into play, right? Which is an advanced way of connecting tables together. We call it relationship. So data modeling in simple terms is just building relationships between many tables. So instead of just writing VLOOKUP, I can say, okay, sales table has staff ID, HR table also has staff ID. I can then connect these two tables, sales table and HR table, based on the ID. That is based off what connects them together, a particular column that they have in common. Remember last week, Tolani also mentioned that when we were talking about joins, all right, joins is like also data modeling.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay, yeah.
Someone said you should just do a bit of a recap. Maybe the VLOOKUP, connecting data modeling. So we can just recap.
Okay, so I think I did a video on that already for VLOOKUP. You can see it's the same way. Can you see? I hope you guys can see.
No, I need the explanation how it's relates to each other.
Okay, how it relates to each other. Okay, so this
Yeah,
is
how
how
it's in line in sync with data model.
with data modeling. Okay, so you see, this is VLOOKUP. I picked this. This is lookup value A2. Then I went to HR table for the table array, and then the third argument is what do I want to bring in? Okay, what do I want to bring in into sales table? I want to bring in column 2 of HR, which is location. You can see I have column 2 here, and then 0, of course, to say false, meaning give me actual value. If you watch that short video, you see all that. So how does it relate, right? Again, how it relates it, I've just told us that this VLOOKUP has helped us link these two tables, sales table and HR table. I'm just doing a recap, basically, and then linking it with today's topic. So VLOOKUP has helped us make a linkage between HR table and sales table, right? Which is what VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and the SLOOKUP does. So I'm now saying today, we want to look at a concept that helps us do that link without having to write VLOOKUP, which is more efficient, right? And that the name of that concept is what we call data modeling, right? Data modeling is simply, like I said, creating relationships between two or more tables using a similar or a connector, basically. So in this table now, for example, staff ID is here. In HR as well, we also have staff ID. So the connector here is what? Is the staff ID. And remember, Tolani also mentioned it when he was discussing joins, right? Join, inner join, let join, outer join, and the rest that he discussed. That remember, he also told you that there must be a key, right? That key is what I called connector. That's the connector I'm referring to. That's the key. That's the similar columns, or you call it similar columns in both tables. Staff ID has HR has staff ID. Sales also have what? Staff ID. So what is the similar columns there? Staff ID, staff ID. So meaning these two guys are connectors. So meaning staff ID is a connector, and we can call it is a key to join the two tables. I hope that is clear. So that's basically data modeling. I hope you can still see my screen. So data modeling is just connecting two tables. If you see what I wrote here, this presentation will guide you through the process of data modeling in Excel, from setting up your data to creating relationships between tables and using DAX for advanced calculations. By the end of this guide, you should be equipped to build better reports faster and simplify complex data analysis. Now, another reason why we need data modeling, which we are going to discuss very soon as well, is because so that we should be able to use DAX, right? Now, remember in Excel, when you come here, you say equals to sum. Sum is a function, Excel function, and then you pass in if you want to sum all these numbers, for example. Now, the same function, the same purpose that this sum, your average, and every other formulas in Excel performs is what this DAX does. So just get it like that. What is DAX? DAX is just formulas in Power Pivot. Let me say that again. What is DAX? DAX is simply formulas, Excel formulas in Power Pivot, or used in data modeling. Use when you model your data. So I want you to take it as simple as that, so that you get it as simple as that. So DAX, the formula of DAX is data analysis expression. Data analysis expression. That's the formula of DAX. So when you model your data, instead of maybe after, for example, after I've made this table, I've used VLOOKUP to bring a particular stuff location, for example, in this case, to this table, and then I will now do, okay, let me now sum the total, maybe sales 10 here, maybe say 30 here, right? You've been able to identify their location, and I can now say equals to sum these two guys. I've not started. I'm just trying to give you introduction, so don't get confused. All right. So meaning we have 50, correct? So this is you have used Excel formula in this case. But now in Power Pivot, or in what I call in okay, so in Power Pivot, or what I call in data modeling, you are not going to use just normal Excel formula again. You are now going to use what we call that data analysis expression. It's the same thing like the Excel formula. It's just that we are giving it a new name, and then maybe some other additional functions in this data analysis expression. That's just. I hope that is clear. All right. So that's that about that. Yeah. Let me proceed. Now, what is data modeling? I've explained that. Data modeling, you can see in Excel, helps you organize. I hope you can see my screen. Helps you organize multiple tables and create relationship between them. So you connect them. Remember, you are creating a relationship based on a particular field that is common to both tables. If they don't have anything in common, you cannot create relationship between them. Please note that. You cannot create relationship between two tables when they don't have anything in common. And what is creating relationship? Creating relationship is just joining those tables, all right? Connecting them. The same, very similar to joins as well. All right. Yeah, this simplifies analysis without the need for complex formulas. So one other thing, I've mentioned that. Now, let me give you an example of what this means. This simplifies analysis without the need for complex formula. Now, let's say, for example, you have not created a relationship between these tables now, HR and sales. What you want to do, maybe let's say, find the total sales for people from location F. You know, if there is no relationship now, let's say, for example, let me color this black. If there is no relationship, what do? You first of all go and say equals to sum total sales. And then maybe you now come here again and do maybe bring this table, or let me just say, okay, let's say, for example, we are looking for star ID 2. You say sum, you now do sum if. Sum if star ID, don't get confused. So sum is that star ID is 2, then connect. So what I'm saying basically is you're going to go through a lot of ASU before you can write your formula, because there is no relationship. But with relationship, it makes your formula easier. So that's what we are saying here. It makes your formula easier. So when there is relationship, you just call each of them. Then your query runs faster. Remember, we are just dealing with 10,000, 1,000 rows, 2,000 rows. Imagine that you are dealing with millions of rows. So it means your system must be optimized. It must be optimized. So that's why data modeling is important in Excel, you know, generally in Excel. So this what you are learning now, the good thing about it is when you start learning SQL, Python, and all of that things, if you want to learn that, but if you are just a business person or you are in finance or anything, you just want to learn data modeling or learn Excel, all that we are saying now applies everywhere. It cuts across every solution, be it SQL, be it Python, be it anything. So if you can know how to do it here, you can know how to do it anywhere else. Let me even shock you now. One of the good ways, one of the best way I simplify complex solutions or complex problems is, let's say, for example, I want to write one complex query in SQL or Python, and I'm struggling with it. One of the things I do is come back to Excel, implement it in Excel. If I am able to implement it in Excel, I will just replicate that same logic and then bring it to any tool. So that is another good thing about this powerful tool called Excel. So it simplifies analysis. You see, by creating relationships between two tables, you can easily analyze data from different sources in one place. This eliminates the need for repetitive formulas, manual data manipulations. All right. What are the key concepts? I've mentioned this. Of course, the table, raw data into structured table, you know, all this is just English. Then, of course, I told you about key. We have two types of keys basically at this level. We have a primary key and a foreign key. Now let me quickly just explain that. Now let me clear this. I hope we are following, guys. I hope we are following. I hope we are following. Let me know in the comment section. All right. Now this is sales table, staff ID 23 sales. They made, so sales people, this is their staff ID, and they made this particular sale. Now remember that, let me shift this here. There should be a sales ID. If I'm sending people out, if I'm sending people out, I should give them, for that particular task they are doing, I should give them an ID. So this is ID 1 for sales 1, ID 2 for sales 2. But this is what their sales are, the ID for their sales. But as staff, if I want to check as staff, of course, every staff in the company have an ID. Just so if I don't want to be writing names every time, they have their staff ID. Now in HR, this is staff ID, this is location. So I want to ask someone a question now. This staff ID, which table is it primary to? I want you to just drop, just say HR or sales. Now this staff ID, which table is it primary to? Can someone give me that answer? So when I say which table is it primary to, who owns staff ID? Joshua said HR. Wale said HR. Oh, my students are brilliant. Massive. Correct. So HR owns staff ID. Now, who owns, in this place now, who owns sales ID? Who owns sales ID? HR or sales? Sales. Thank you. Sales owns what? Sales ID. Thank you. So when we say thank you, it's okay. my guys are dropping comment. No time. We are getting it. Now, remember, if I say primary, let's say primary source, secondary source. What do you mean by when you say primary source? Let's say, for example, you are in a food chain. For example, now in a food chain, you have farmer, Abi, you have a restaurant. Now, who is the primary source of the food? Is it the farmer or the restaurant? In the food chain, farmer. Thank you. So farmer is the primary source of the food. Thank you. So farmer is the primary source of the food. All right. So in that means it started from the farmer. So in this case now, for the staff ID, where are you going to see the primary key? For staff ID, who owns the primary? Which table has the primary key for staff ID? Which table owns the primary key for? Thank you, HR. So HR owns the primary key to staff ID. So meaning in this staff ID here is primary to HR table. Staff ID here is primary to what? HR table, meaning HR owns the staff ID. So in this table now, the HR table is the staff ID is the primary key. Now, HR table here now, staff ID here in this sales table, meaning it is not primary to sales table. It must be a foreign key. It must be a foreign key. We get it must be a foreign key. So staff ID here is the foreign. Is a foreign key to this table. But staff ID, of course, is a primary key to this table. I hope it's clear. Now, what of sales ID? Sales ID, of course, everybody knows the answer now. Sales ID to sales table is the what? Someone help me. Sales ID in the sales table is the what? Let me see your comments. Primary key. Thank you. So sales ID is the primary key to the sales table. As simple as that. I want to believe everybody understand primary key and foreign key now. So that's it. So primary key, foreign key, unique key to a particular table, And most times, do you know how to even know the primary key and foreign key? Most times, you know it by the name of the table. They always name it by the name of the table. So if I have an HR table, a sales table, sales ID in that table will be the primary key most times. If I have a revenue product table, the primary key in that table will most likely be the product ID, you know, like that. So you understand that now. Very good, student. Now, why are we talking about this primary key, foreign key? So, you know, meaning when we were doing VLOOKUP that time to pull in location, when we say VLOOKUP, meaning this is the primary key. Here, when we are linking it together with this was now the foreign key to that case. So we are linking it. Just know it as connector, like I said. All right, setting up data model, you know, that's the next thing. Now, if you are using the correct Excel, if you are not using the fake one, if your Excel is not from Oluwole, who knows Oluwole here? Can someone tell me what Oluwole is known for? Let me see if we have people that have been in Lagos for years. Who knows Oluwole? Just Edit knows Oluwole. Oluwole is known for fake. So if you are not in Nigeria, because not everyone here that is from Nigeria. We have people from, I've checked, you know, Ukraine, people from UK, you know, we have people from Philippines, from South Africa, from Kenya. You know, we have global citizens on this call. We have nations on this call in this session. All right. So if your Excel is not from that side of Lagos, then you should be seeing this. Now, no problem if you are not seeing this. Though, if you've seen what I name Power Pivot. Now, this tool is what we're going to be using today to, you know, model our data. Remember, what we're focusing on today is how to model data and then create DAX functions. So if you are not seeing this, no problem. I'm going to walk you through very quickly. You are going to come to File.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I think your voice is faster than your screen. I don't know, maybe it's network or I don't know.
My network, right?
At my end too.
Okay, please confirm you can see this one now. I'm showing Excel interface that has Power Pivot. Please confirm if everyone is seeing this. Okay. Yeah, okay. Because I'm using, you're not seeing my screen? I'm using 5G, so I don't think we should be having that issue of okay. We shouldn't be having issue of lagging, right? I shouldn't be having that. So if you are not seeing Power Pivot, I said no problem. I'm going to walk you through now. Don't worry, I will processes that I know could be a bit hard to get. I will repeat them. All right. If you are not seeing it, all you need to do is come to File and then down. You come to Options, and then this window comes up. And then you come to Add-ins. Don't worry, I'm going to repeat it. And then in Add-ins, you're going to come to this Manage side here, Manage. And then you're going to click that drop down, and then you're going to pick Com Add-ins. And then you go to Go, and then you see these three but not checked. So that's if you are not seeing Power Pivot. You see these three but not checked. So you are going to check it. This is what you need. Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel. You check it. If this one is Power Map for maps, streamer, but what we need basically is this Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel, and you click OK. Now I will repeat that again. Immediately you click OK, this one will come up. Now, remember I said you must be using original Excel. When I say original, it doesn't have to be Microsoft 365. It can be Excel 2013, 16, yes, from 2013, 16 upward, all right? Now, to enable this, you come to File, you come to Options, you come to Add-ins, you come to Com Add-ins, and then you click on go, and then you check Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel, and then you click OK. Instantly, immediately you do that, Power Pivot will appear on your screen. I hope that is clear. All right. So now that we have that, let's go back to our slide. All this will walk us through. Now, creating relationship, I've also told us about that. We walk through all this. Now, after we have created, so what this is basically saying is when we are done with our data, when we want to start our modeling, we have to ensure Power Pivot is up, and then we connect our data to the model, we create our relationship, and then, do a pivot table and drag in, create our DAX, and the rest. Well, let me come here now. Don't worry, we're still going to walk through everything, So these are some of the DAX functions we have. I know you must have seen something like this in Excel, sum, but you say sum X. It's almost the same thing you see. Then you have a calculate function, you have related, you have sum too in DAX. You have you can see this. Total sales is equal to, look at, for example, total sales, sum, and then the column. Now, sum is in Excel. Everyone has used sum. You've used average. Average is in Excel. You've used which other one? Count. You've used a lot of those Excel functions are also in the DAX language. Okay, the essence of what I did just now is to enable Power Pivot. Is to enable this function, Power Pivot. If you are not seeing it, yeah, you need to do that. Yeah, you need to do that. Is it the same application in it does the same thing, basically. It does the same thing. All right. Okay. So this sum is a DAX function. I told you that it's the same thing. It's the same thing with your Excel formulas, right? The only thing is that they now added some other formulas like SumX, like calculate. I know you've not seen this before. Office 2019 will have that. You should be able to enable. Moderator, please attend to them where necessary. All right. Then related, these are just the additional ones you've not seen in normal Excel formula, but we'll run through them too. All right. And then that is our last slide. Voila, my slide is done. We are done with the slide, and we are all good now. Can we all model data now? Yes or yes? Can we all model data now? Yes or yes? All right. Let me know in the comments. Can we model data? And at least we understand, or at the high level now. All right. Yeah, okay, yes, after examples, makes sense. Okay, now let's proceed. I want you now to share your screen. No, I'm going to give someone, just raise your hand if you are on your screen or on your laptop. All right, if you are with your laptop, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Okay, now I want us to do a revision of one of our classes. Now, I want someone to open you are going to open the Excel file that I sent yesterday, and you are going to use pivot table, of course, to tell me the most frequent car color from our data, most frequent car color, or most common car color. Yeah, most common car color from our Excel. Okay, a couple of people have raised their hands. Most common. Let me choose.
I think Samson is the first person to raise hand.
Okay, Samson. Okay, Seni. Samson. Okay, Seni. Let me give you.
Samson is no more. It is the next person.
What is it?
Samson is no more. It is the next answer.
Samson is here. Samson is here. Okay.
No, he's no more. He has lower his hand, so it is the next person.
Okay, Ituno, are you ready to share? Let me give you permission to share. Okay, please try to share now, Ituno, and then let me accept that.
think we need to unmute her too.
Yeah, okay. Let us share the screen first. Let's see. Let me stop share. Okay, allow. So that data, where is it to know now? Let me it to know. Okay. You can unmute now. We are here to see your screen. Give us which is the most common car color from our data set sent yesterday. It's no, we are waiting for you to share. Okay, it's coming up. Okay, unmute your mic. You can no longer.
Okay, just hold on. It, we are trying to unmute you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So can you see my screen? Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
it's not centralized, but you can see your screen. Go ahead. Makes sense. Yeah, you've not even opened it. You want to waste our time? Okay, go ahead. Where's the data? No, pick data. Pick data. Pick data. It's better to pick. So
I've loaded it. Okay.
it's not just to give people the background. It is not just used Power Query to load in the data using the data and the connector. So that's like a revision of last class, Okay, go ahead. So the question now is from this table now that you have, can you use pivot table to tell us the most frequent color or the most common color or car color from this data set?
Okay, pivot table.
You are getting it now. Good.
Oh.
You have 1 more minute, 1 more minute, 1 more minute. Okay, the process is not so it will not as tried. You've given us 1, you've been able to connect to data, very sound, very fantastic. And then also you've been able to create pivot table using, I think you use the shortcut, fantastic. And of course, understand how to drag, fantastic. But because of our time, let's move to the next person. Please stop sharing. You've done well. Okay, who else want to try? Who else want to try and take it up from where she started? Who else want to try? Who else want to try? Any hand raised? Who else? Just raise your hand.
I think Joshua hands was raised before I lower all hands. So Joshua,
yeah, Joshua hands is lowered now. Maybe Joshua is now scared.
No, I was the one that lowered Joshua's hand. So his hand is
okay. Joshua, go ahead and share your screen. Share your screen, Joshua. Joshua, share your screen. Yeah. Class, I hope we are following. I hope it's getting interesting. I expect us to have opened that Excel down.
Inside my screen being shared now.
Yes.
Okay.
Focus on it. Okay, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, so I should using pivot table.
Car color, yeah, most common car color.
Okay, so we go to insert pivot table. From initially, I selected the whole table. It's Control A, and go to insert pivot table from table range. I selected the table and new worksheet. Now, most color car color. We're going to select, I think, from our data color. We're going to use color and count. So select color, and then we'll count. No, go to value filters. So, this one. Okay.
You have 1 more minute. You have 1 more minute. All right. You have done well.
So I'm almost done.
Okay.
Value filters, top 10, then again top 1. Okay. So
that is it. So that is it. So Joshua, please go back to your screen. I still want to don't unshare it. So that is it. Joshua has been able to show us that the most common car color is black. How did he do that? He was able to go to highlighted with Control A. So if you've not gotten it, you get it now. Control A. Then after doing that, he did the manual way, which is good. Instead of Alt+VT, he just going to insert pivot table, and then he inserted the pivot table, and then he dragged color to rows, and then color as well, the same color to values, right? We are looking for the most common. So common means it's the most frequent, the one that has the highest count also, and it chose count, and then it's he went out to row labels, value filters, and then he entered top one, that is the top, and then okay, and then we got 1,000, meaning black cards had 1,105 records. So meaning people love. So you see now, this is intelligence. We have just done data analysis, meaning over in Nigeria, because this is real life data from in Nigeria. That noise is disturbing. All right, meaning, thank you so much, Joshua. So meaning in Nigeria, people love what? Black cars. People love black cars. So that can make you, give you informed decision. Oh, is there a reason? You can now further analyze. Oh, is there a reason why people prefer black cars? Oh, is it because of the nature of our road? The dirt will not show, the, you know, the crispiness and all that. So, but of course, this is what we call data analysis. Thank you so much, Joshua. You can stop sharing your screen. Thank you. So that's it. If you've not gotten it, I believe you should get it now. So we've just been able to, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope this is clear. You know, anybody that is not in this class now is missing, because we are doing hands-on on how we can, you know, analyze data with Excel pivot tables. Okay, let me share my screen now and let's proceed with the class. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Please confirm you can see my screen now.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let me close this. Okay, now let's proceed to how we can load our data to the data model. Now, this is our data. All right. Now, there are two ways we can load our data to the data model. I can say Control A, which is to highlight, and then I can come to my pivot table, and then click on this Add to Data Model. What that does for me is it takes my data to the Power Pivot page immediately. Let me click on it now. Power Pivot page immediately. Wow, we are in another interface. This is not the Excel interface again. Just like last week where you went to another interface, Power Query interface, where you are able to clean your data engineering with Excel. Now we are in another interface called Power Pivot. All right, let me do that again. You highlight your data, Control A, go to Power Pivot tab. You see it at the end there, and then click Add to Data Model. Instantly, it's giving me that error because it's saying, you've added it to data model before now. Why are you doing this again?
Sorry, sir. Someone said if you can take that again, sir.
I've taken it 2 times already. Okay, let me take it one more time. Control A. I said there are 2 ways you can connect your data to Power Pivots. One way is to, in your data, when you have your data in Excel like this, Control A, you come to your, you might be in home, just come to Power Pivot, and in your Power Pivot, you see these tabs: manage, measure, KPIs, add to data model, detect settings. What you need to click on is add to data model. Instantly, your data appears in this interface, right? And then this interface is what we call the Power Pivot interface, which is also in Excel, but just a built-in engine in Excel that shows up. You can see this is not the Excel interface. You have just like you saw Power Query last week, you know, the other interface that has its own standalone function. So our data has been added to the model, to the Power Pivot interface now. Then we can now model our data. All right, but that's one way. All right, we won't be able to do it again. We have to show with the record. I've done it 3 times now. Okay, so now That's one way you can get your data to Power Pivot. But there's a limitation. Please listen attentively to this limitation. There's a limitation. Now, we are able to do this because our data is small. I'm going there. We're able to do it this way because our data is small. Now, imagine that you are talking about 2 million, 10 million records. Because one of my students had that issue. 2 million records, 10 million records. You cannot, Excel can only take 1,048. Let me put comma. 1,048,000 rows. Excel can only take what? 1,048,000 rows. So if you go back, if you just do like this, you will know. You can see 1,048,576 rows. That is the maximum number of rows. But if you are working in a company very as big as, and you're talking about, you have, even in a day, you have 10 million rows entering, Excel will not be able to handle it. So meaning you won't be able to use this method for connecting your data to Power Pivot. That's one reason why you will not be able to use this method. One is because of limitation of Excel to 1 million plus row. So you can't use that method of highlighting Control A, then going back and then add to data model. That is one. But if your data is small, you use that. Now, two is if you are loading from other sources, right? We've talked about how you can connect to multiple sources. You can say this is database, this is Azure, blob storage, this is Power Platform, this is online SharePoint and all. This is other sources, Hadoop. Remember, we are dealing with Excel. Let's say your data is now stored in SQL table. Your data is stored in an SQL table. Your data is coming from a Python. Your data is coming from, different other sources online. In that case, you cannot, first of all, go and download your data. Maybe in SQL, just first of all run, if you know SQL, but if you don't know, that's fine. It's beyond this scope. Select star from table, select everything from a table. Then when the result is out, you now copy that result and then paste it in Excel. And that's a lot of work. But you can connect directly from SQL and then, of course, clean your data. In that case, you won't use this method. You use what you were taught last week, which is to get data and then choose from file if it is CSV. And then instead of what Itunu said did, if you remember, if you are following the class, Itunu had two options. Let me show us. Let me just pick any data. Itunu had three options. Let me go to download. You see, Itunu had this, when I click on data, Itunu had these three options. She had load, transform, and cancel. But she clicked on what? Load, because she's bringing it to what? Excel. If you clicked on transform, what happens? Can someone help me? If you click on transform, what happens? Oh yeah, student, ask me. Tell me the answer. Tell me the answer. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, someone said Power Query. I'm not sure Samuel is correct. Can someone help Samuel? Samuel is not saying what I want to hear. Can someone tell me what happens when he clicks on it to take it to Power Query? This person is also saying Power Query. Let's see if we had another question answer. It means I know people that have the answer high in this group. Drop in the comment the right answer. Who else? Oh, that's the only two options we have, two answers we have on the group. Okay. Samuel and the other person, you are correct. When you click on transform data, it takes you to Power Query. You get it now? So in that case, your data that is coming from SQL, from other source, that you are going to go through this get data and then it brings here and then it takes you to Power Query. Why? Because my own data is clean. My own data is clean, so I don't need to take it to Power Query to clean it up. So I just connected to Power Pivot model. But if your data is not clean, you want to first of all take it to Power Query, clean it, and then load it. But if your data is more than 1 million rows, even if you take it to Power Query, you cannot load it to Power Pivot directly, right? You need to do something. That something is what I want to show you now. So remember, I've talked about a lot of things now. Let me go back. I've talked about if your data is small and it is cleaned. My data is small now and it is already clean. No, it's not dirty. It's no longer dirty. If your data is small and it is clean, you can just bring it to Excel and just come to Power Pivot, add to data model, and your data appears in Power Pivot. But if your data is not small, 1 million plus rows, and maybe it's not clean, you have to take it to what? Power Query and do the data, what you did last week, get data, select the source. Is it from database? Is it from SQL? Is it from online sources? And then you click on what? Transform data. And that takes you to what? Power Query. Then you what? Clean your data and do a lot of stuff on your data. And then you load it. Now, remember I told you if it is more than 1 million, let's say it is like 1.2 million, you cannot load it into Excel like this, like you did last week. You have to do something. So let me teach you that something now. Now I'm going to load this table. This is my table now to Power Query. I hope you are following. Control A. You know, this table now, I don't need to come to get data. Because I'm not getting data from, the data was already in my Excel. So, but I still want to take it to Power Query, which is a very good way to also learn if you don't know how to do this one. Say Control A, I still want to connect it to Power Query. Are we following? How do I do that? I will highlight the data, and I will say, you see different options here. You can see from CSV, from web, from picture, but there's another option here that says from table or range, meaning from a table that you already have in your system. So I will pick this one, from table or range. You can see instantly it takes me to Power Query. So 2 ways you can connect to Power Query. If your table is already resident in Excel, let me do that again. If your table is already resident in Excel, you just do Control A from table range now, and you get it in Power Query instantly. Although my own is a table already, that's why it's not bringing. It's not. So let me do something so that you understand what I'm trying to say. You are not getting what we are saying. So we are saying another thing already. Let me do something. I want to show you something. Look at this now. This is already in a tabular format. How do I know? Can someone help me? How do I know that this is already in a tabular format? Excel table. This is already an Excel table. Can someone help me why this is already an Excel table? Great. Samuel, thank you. It already has a filter field. You can see you can already filter, and then you can see that you have the color. It will show the different types of table colors in Excel. So this is how I know that this is already a table. It's already in the Excel table. Now look at this data now. You can see there is no filter. There is no filter button here. This is not yet a table. So if I want to do the same thing to connect this data now to Power Query, I will say Control A. Now remember I said you just say from table range. Now from table range for this just takes me straight to Power Query because this is already a table. Look at what will happen to this. Control A, and then if I say from table range, this will come up. This is coming up because my data is not yet an Excel table. But if your data is an Excel table, it will take it straight to Power Query. But because this one is not an Excel table, it will ask for where is the data for your table. Oh, yes. Pick where this, let me show you. Pick where this, we have this dotted line. And then it says My table has header. Does it have header? Title, price, type, year, color, they are the headers. Yes, it has. If it does not, you don't click it. I'm doing a revision now. But it has header, so I'll click it. Now, remember someone, let me go back to last week again. Remember someone mentioned something last week that, I forgot the name of that person. He said, why do we have column as column 1, column 2 as the headers in Power Query? This is one of the reasons. If you uncheck this now, if you are saying my table does not have header, it means you are considering this whole area as your data, meaning your table does not have header. Let's see what will happen in Power Query. I've said my table does not have header now. Okay. Look at what will happen. Wow, look at what has happened. Because I said my table does not have header, meaning I'm saying title, price, type, color, year of make is also part of my data. Look at what has happened. It has now said, okay, meaning we don't have column names. It just say column 1, column 2. I hope the person that asked that question is here today. If the person is not here today, he has missed a lot. All right. So that is why that happened last week. So if I want to now do this, but Power Query is powerful. That's why it's called Power Query. Wow. So because it's powerful, I can just come here and say use. But my voice is faster than the video. Is it your network or mine? Okay. I'll do that again. So use first row as header. You see, that was what Olani did last week. And instantly, title, price, type will promote itself to be the header. But that's not where we are going. I'm just trying to revise what you learned last week. So let me go back to my data. Let me delete this. Now, this is my data. My data is already a table format, so I need to do Control-A and then just come to my data and then come to table range. My data is from table range. Why am I doing this? Because I want to take my data to where? To which platform? Power Pivot or Power Query? Someone help me. Why am I doing this now? I want to, I told you I wanted to teach you something. So if I'm clicking this, where am I taking my data to? Power Query or Power Pivot? Power Query. Thank you. Power Query. Okay. So I'll click this now. It takes me to Power Query. Okay. Now in Power Query, my data is there. Remember, I want to teach you the other way. If your data is more, because if it is more than 1 million, let's say 1,200,000, if you click on close and load, it will not load because it will say, exec can only take 1,048,000 rows. What do you do in that case? You now click on close and load to. Immediately you do that. No. Oh, it's giving you this, Abby. Okay, no problem. But I want you to see that. It's because I think this table already. Let me go back there. There is another way, but I want you to see this way first. Let me go back to Power Query. Queries and connections to see my Power Query again. You can see data, queries and connections. Let's say it's already in Power Query. You come to queries and connections and you see it. And you can click on right click and say edit. I think that was mentioned. Now, if it doesn't show me now, I will, okay, it's not showing me now. So let me show you how it's going to, what, if you click on close and load to, we have two options, close and load. Close and load will load it to an Excel worksheet. Get that? Close and load to, we bring up an interface. It's not bringing it now because my table is already loaded into the system. Don't worry, but I will show you. How do you see what I was talking about, even if your table has been loaded? My table is already loaded to Power Pivot. That's why I'm not seeing that. You can see my table is already in Power Pivot. You remember, if I go to manage now, you see that table is already there. That's why I'm not seeing that. I will do that. So I will do that. Your table is already in Power Pivot. That's why you are not seeing the option I'm talking about. But if your table is not there, if it is the first time, remember I told you that's one way. One way is to highlight your data and then add to the data model, and it will go to Power Pivot. But if you have already done this already and your table is in Power Pivot, If you do that close and load to, it will just bring you back here. But this is how you see it. Right click on this, go to data, right? You see queries and connections, and then this interface will pop up. Data, queries and connections, then this interface will pop up. Right click and then go to load to. You can see, right click and then you see load to. Now this is the interface you will see if you have not loaded your data to Power Pivot initially. Don't mistake pivot table to Power Pivot. I say that again. Don't mistake Power Pivot to pivot table. It's different. So we are talking about Power Pivot here now. So this interface will come up when you say close and load to in Power Query. So, but in this case, because your data cannot be consumed by Excel because it's more than 1 million, what do? You can't select table. You can't select what? Table, because your data is more than 1 million. Please note this. When you are dealing with millions of data, what you select is what? Only create connection. What you select is what? Only create connection. And then another thing you now do is what? To add it to data model. Remember that our own data is already in the data model. When we are talking about adding to data model, it means this statement is synonymous to saying, please show my data in Power Pivot. So whenever you see add this data to data model, it means show my data in what? Power Pivot. So that I can model my data. So you click on these two and this, then you click OK. That way, your data will not, you won't even see anything in Excel. You can see this query is currently connected to a table. You can see it's already connected to our what? Disconnected tables might be there. Do you want to continue? Let me just say, okay, let's see. You see what I'm saying? Can you see? This is what will happen to you. You just see that nothing is loaded to Excel, but you are seeing 1 million or 10 million rows loaded. Where is my data? So don't be confused when you are faced with that. Your data will not load to Excel because Excel cannot load it. But because that is why Power Query and Power Pivot is powerful, because before now you cannot deal with any data that is any number of rows of data is more than 1 million. You have to just maybe do it with Power BI or any other tool. But with Power Query and Power Pivot, that limitation has been solved. So all you see is just 10 million rows loaded, and this place will be blank. You can see it's blank now because what we've done is just to, let me right click and show you again. It's what? Create connection and what? Add to data model. Don't forget. Now that is it. So I hope that side is clear. Now our data is in, let me go. So when you are in Excel, how do you now go to, remember that when we add to data model, instantly to open up Power Pivot. But let's say you've closed Power Pivot and your data is already in Power Pivot. How do you go back and see your data? You come to, okay, can I do it again? Okay, we come to Power Pivot and say manage data. So manage just brings you back to Power Pivot. It says, someone said I should do that again. Now it's just to, let me come to this empty table, data, connections, you right click. Remember, if it is more than 1 million, you won't even be able to do this because you have to do that when you are coming from Power Query. Load to, only create connection, check this out to data model, you click OK, and then the data is added to data model. Then to now see that data, come to Power Pivot, and then you come to manage. I hope I'm recording. Let me check. Okay, I'm recording.
Yes, sir, you are recording.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope we are getting it. So our data now is in the Power Pivot environment. Now let me just recap again what I've said. If your data is small and it's clean, you can just highlight your data and then add to data model straight away, and then to take you here. But if your data is not clean, of course you want to clean it, Abi. You can then highlight your data. You go to data, you go to table or range, correct? And that takes you to Power Query, and that gives you ability to what? To clean your data. All right, and then you can close and load to Excel if it is not much. But if the data is more than millions in millions, then what do? You click on close and load to, because Power Query will show you two options: close and load, and what? Close and load to. So you click on close and load to, and what do you select? You select two options. Can someone remind me of what you see when you close and load to? There are two things you have to check. Can someone remind me? Is anybody here that I can still remember what I said? Drop it in the comments so that I know that we are following. I hope we are getting this. I hope we are following. I hope we are getting this. Great. So you say only create a connection and then you add to data model. Powerful. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, create connection and add to data model. And instantly, it's hard. Your data will not come to Excel because it's already more than what Excel can contain. And what next do you see? What next do you do to ensure you come to this environment? What do you do to come to this Power Pivot environment? Someone tell me. Yeah, because your Excel will just be blank. So all do you do now after you have added to you come to before coming to manage, what do you go to? You go to the Power Pivot tab, and then you say manage. Oh, what an interesting set of students. Okay, and then it takes you to this place. Hope that is clear. So now we can start talking about data model. Now we can start talking about data model. Now, these are data, right? Now, let me see this. What's this? Let me delete this. You just need one. Okay. I think I also sort this issue for you. Link and attendance will come later. Let me continue first before I sort this. So these are table, or let me sort this so that you won't get confused. So look at this. Now I want to delete this. Look at what I'm getting. Are you sure you want to permanently delete this table, including any associated measure? I said yes. And it dropped out of this. It said this table was created by a query. To change this table, change the query instead. What does this mean? I'm unable to change this. I'm unable to delete this second table because this same table, this table 8 and table 8.1, they are the same thing. But I'm unable to delete it. And this is the error it's saying. It's saying for me to make any changes, I have to go back to Power Query. All these things I'm noting now, you will face this a lot. So I want you to pay close attention to what I'm doing. All right. So this is the way to. So what that means is you cannot do major edits in Power Pivot. Another learning curve. You cannot what? Do major changes in Power Pivot. Let's say, for example, let me give another scenario. Let's say I want to change this table name. Data. Okay, this is going to likely work. Now let me. Do you know why this one worked? This table 8, this first table was not loaded to Power Query. Remember, we just highlighted Control A and then we just add to data model and it brought us here. But let me try and change the name of this table. Let's see. Data 2. You can see it said the table was created by a query. To change this table, change the query instead. I cannot make changes to this table. Remember what I said? In Power Pivot, you can't make major changes because this other table originated from Power Query. So what do I do to delete this data table 8.1? Let me minimize this and then go back to my Excel. In my Excel, I will go back and say edit. To take me to that table 8.1. You can see. So what I'm going to do is I will delete it. This is just for you if you're having errors, or it's not only name. Let's say you want to change local use to local use cars. You have to come back to this Power Query. You can't change it in Power Pivot. I hope I'm clear. I hope I'm clear. So I'm going to delete this. So the query is no longer there now. Now, if I go back, I can delete this now. My voice is still faster. Okay. If I go back to manage now, you see that I'm going to see only one data, which is this, which is what I want. Can we all see Power Pivot now? I want to be sure, because we want to start modeling our data. Okay. Now, if you can all see Power Pivot, yes, thank you. Okay. What we'll do next is, now how do we model our data? Now, if you are in home, you come to your right hand side, you see what we call data view, diagram view, show hidden, calculation area. Now, currently you can see that this is highlighted. We are in data view. Now, where do you create your model? You come to diagram view. You can see it's in a diagram view now. Now, can you create a model with just one table? No. So let's go back to data view and create one more table. One of the tables you create for every model, please note this, underline it. For every data model, there should be a date table. I repeat that. Note it down. For every data model, be it Excel, Power BI, there should be anywhere, there should be a date table dimension. There should be a date table dimension. So that's what I'm going to do now to model my data, right? I'm going to create a date table. Now, let me drop another very important point. I've dropped one. For every data model, there should be what? A date table. The other point I'm going to drop now is for every data model that has a date table, someone said I can't read that comment. Okay, so for every data model, there should be what? A date table. And then for every data model with a date table, the main table must have dates. What I'm saying is this. Look at this, our data. We have title, price, type, year of make. It's just year of make. Does this data has dates? No. So for me to be able to create a date table, there must be a date column. But there is no date column here, but I will still try. Let's see if it will work. How do you create a date table now? You can call it calendar, you can call it date table, you can call it any name. Just know that you always, for every model, there is a date table. All right. So I want to create a calendar. How do I do that? You come to design. You come to where? Design. We are going to have a class work, so follow me. You come to design and you come to date table. See, it is grayed out. I cannot create date table. Why? Can someone tell me why I cannot create a date table? I've mentioned it. Let me see if we are following. Can someone tell me why I cannot create a date table? Anyone? Oh, no one. Okay. The reason why I cannot create a date table. Okay, someone has dropped. No, that's not the reason. The reason why I cannot create a date table is I mentioned it that for you to create a date table, your main table or one of your tables, let me not say your main table, one of your tables must have a date column. One of your table must have a date column. You see now, this one does not have a date column. So I won't be able to create what? Date table. So what do I do? To ensure I have a date column. What do I do? So meaning, I cannot make any changes here. I cannot create date.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
I think Sunday's hand is up. So maybe Sunday can drop his question on the chat box instead of.
Yeah, please let him drop it.
Sunday, please drop your question, please.
Okay, so let me continue. All right. So I cannot create date column here, and I think someone already answered that. That the reason why I cannot create it is why we need to create. why we need to create date table, date column when we have year. So year is not date. Year is just year. So I need to create a date column. And remember that I told you cannot make major changes here in Power Pivot. You have to go back to what? Power Query. Now let's go back to our Excel. Remember that this our data is just normal Excel. So we need to take it to Power Query. Control A. I'm going to take it to Power Query now. I've taken it to Power Query. Let me name it data. Then I'm going to create a date column here. Now, why am I doing this? I'm doing this so that I can revise. I've been able to revise a large part of. Not even a large part. I've revised week 1, which is pivot table and VLOOKUPs, right? And we've had hands-on, because we are working on your feedback as well. And week 2, I'm also trying to revise it. I've revised the part where I load to. I've also revised how you can come to this place and then use row as header. One thing I'm also revising now is how you can create additional columns. That's why I didn't do it when I send that data. I want us to just do it to revise as well. And we are going to have a classwork, remember. Now, how do I create a date column? Now, this is just year. We have the year. Now, for a date, you always have what? Day, month, year. Abi? Day, month, year. So, what do? I need to add. So in this case, what we are, we don't know the particular date. What I just want to do to this year column is to add maybe 1/1/2024, 1/1/2028, 1/1/2021, 2011, 1/1/2003, 1/1/2005. Just add 1/1 meaning day 1, month 1. You can decide to say 12/12, day 12, month 12. You can decide to just use any month and day because we are only sure of the year. We don't know the date. So you cannot just go, except if you collect this data yourself, you can go back to the data source and say, please, the person that gave you the data, please help me add date column. But if there is none, you just want to innovatively create date. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add 1/1/1/1, to create the day and the month. How do I do that? I'll come to transform, add column, and then I'll come to custom column. This column, I'm going to call it let me just call it anything. Let me not even change the name, custom. And what I'm going to enter is 1,1. So meaning month 1, day 1. I will say okay. Okay, it entered just 1. Okay, no problem. I will duplicate this. Let me just duplicate this. Duplicate column. This will serve as my day. This will serve as my month. Let me repeat that again. From here or anywhere, just come to add column, custom column. You can change the name if you want, but I'm not changing the name, and you enter just 1. Enter 1, click OK. It creates a new column, and then the next thing I did was to now duplicate this, and then we have this, and I rename this as day and as a month. What next do I do? Ensure that your data types are the same. Note that down. This is data type 1, 2, 3, which is what? Whole number. This is data type what? No data type. Mix. This is like your general now. ABC 1, 2, 3. ABC 1, 2, 3.
Hello, sir.
Right? Yeah, I saw that. I should do it again.
Okay.
Yes. I said you come to add column, custom column, the name of your column, and then you just enter 1. If you are doing 12/12, I said you are going to put a placeholder for your month and day. For me, I'm using placeholder 1, meaning everything, day 1, the month, the month 1 or month 2, month 3. You can use anyone. I click OK. All right, that's how I did that. And immediately immediately I will get this new column, and I right-clicked and I duplicated the column so that I now have this and this. This is what I have. It gave me this, and I duplicated, and then I had this and this, and then all I did was to now rename it to day and month. Then the next thing I said was,
actually a question from a student.
Okay.
In the chat box.
What's the question?
Okay, so it said, if the data does not come with a date and a time column, what would a data analyst do?
With a date and a time.
It doesn't even have the year at all.
Okay, you can also, if it doesn't have, you cannot have a data that you can, so meaning, so two things, you cannot even model that data, right? What will you be doing with a data that does not have dates? You just want to show, so it's rare. But if that's the case, then you leave the data. But if you want to be innovative, let's say someone wants to just, except you are just doing practice. If it is real-time data, it has to have date. When the data point, it has to have date. It's compulsory, right? But if it does not, at least it should have year. You can use year. Maybe it's a yearly analysis. If it's yearly analysis, you just need year. But you as a data analyst know that you need the full date to be able to model your data. Then you do this same thing, day and month. But if it does not have any of this, then there is no need to analyze that data. It can happen, in short. Or you just do a placeholder for a year, do a placeholder for day and month, and that does not make sense because you just have 1 year, maybe 2024, and you just give you 2024 or 2, instead of giving you different years like this. All right, so let's move. Okay. Then remember I said this must be in the same data format. 1, 2, 3. This can also, you have to change this one to 1, 2, 3 as well. 1, 2, 3 is just whole number. Change this to 1, 2, 3 as well. Now that the 3 of them are in the same format, remember that Excel Power Query date formats is month, day, or year. Month, day, and year. Month, day, and year. Let's try that now. If you don't get that month, you will click on Control key on your laptop to highlight month. Click on Control key on your laptop, press it down, don't remove your hand. Click on day, and then click on year. I've just highlighted those 3 I need. Let me do that again. You click on the first one you need, which is month, because it's the order of your clicking that determines the order of your mark. Because what I want to do now is now combine these 3 and then make it date. Month, click on Control key down, day, then year. After doing that, the next thing is, if you come to transform or hard column, any of them, you see what is called merge columns. Now, don't mistake merge columns with merge queries. Merge query is what we did last week, right? When you merge, you are joining tables. Merge column is to add 2 or more columns together, which is what we want to do. I'm going to click on merge columns. Now, it's going to ask me more separator. What is the separator for date? Everyone, what's the separator for date? If we are following, what is the separator for date? Slash, thank you. So slash. Then I'm going to name it date. I'm going to say, okay. You see now, it has given me in date format. So all I need to do is come here and then come to this ABC and then click on date. Wow. Instantly, I have a date column. Powerful. I'm not going to repeat that. You might want to watch. I think I've repeated it like twice because of the time, so that we go on break as well. Now I have my date column. I should have done something instead of now let me teach you that. So it's a good, I should have done something, sorry. You can see that the year column has disappeared, but I don't want it to disappear. I still want to have the year column and have my date. So what do? I can go to my previous step. That is why this is powerful, Power Query. Let me go to my previous step where I have here. You can see this is the previous step where I have here. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to insert it, insert that step. Then I can now go to the last step again. Powerful. You can see my date is here. This year that I duplicated is here. I can now name it here. So I don't need to delete all I have done and start again. I just need to go to where I have that step. Oh, this is before I joined. This is before I joined. All right. Think here we. Before I joined here, I will just come here, duplicate the column. Duplicate the column, and then your year did not. If your year did not disappear, it means you click on merge columns from add column. So there is a difference between when you click on merge column in transform and when you click on merge column in add column. Right? What is the difference? The difference is here you are saying just transform the particular column and change it. Remember when you change something, that is what merge column we do here. That was what I did. But if you did add column, it will still retain all those columns for you, and then it will still give you your date column. I hope that's clear. I need to take a bit of speed now, not speed, but yeah. But now we have our year and we have our date. Now we can go back and what? Close and load to. You can see it has brought. You can see what I expected to bring in the first time now, because now our data is not in data model. That data, so you now say only create connection, add to data model. Okay. We've done that now. Go to pivot and then go to manage. Okay, I think we've not closed. Okay, okay, we didn't close it. So this is our data. Where is our, you can see our date now. Let's delete this one. Can someone tell me why this one will delete? It will delete because it's not in Power Query. You can see, you know, this was the data I loaded when I came in. So that data will delete when it's not in Power Query. This one is, but remember, I cannot change this one. I cannot change this name. How do I change this name? I want to change this name back to data now. What do I do? Someone help me. I'll go back to what? Edit and then detail. Let me make it capital D. And then I can go back to my manage now. Let me refresh. It should have taken effect now. Let me refresh. Refresh. Okay. No issues. Let's not waste our time. But you can do that. Maybe I don't want to waste. We can do that. Try that on your own. Just change to change. So now the point is we now have our date. Correct? You can see we have our date. Now if I come back to design and I say date table, you can see now that we have the option to create data because we can now see a date column. So I'm going to do that. Great. So it's creating it automatically. Create a date, complete date table for you. The day, the year, the month number, the days, and that, and that, and that, and that. You have a date table. You don't need to add additional date. But if it's in Power BI now, you have to create each of these columns: year, month number, all these ones. You have to create it yourself. But in Excel, powerful. You just say create date table. That's all. You can see it's called calendar. Now the next thing you want to do now is to now mark it. Mark as date table. You see, mark as date table. So meaning, please make sure this is my date table. When you are referring to date, refer to this calendar as my date. After having done those two things, the next thing is to come back to your home and then come to the diagram view. You can see, let me expand this. These are the two tables. Now we have two tables. You can have more than two. You can have 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 10, and 11, depending on how complex your model is. But for our home model, we have two tables in our model. And what do I say we are going to do? We are going to ensure we create relationship between our table based off common columns. So someone tell me now, what is the common column between this data 1 and calendar? What is the common column? What is the common column? What is the common column? Someone help me. Has anyone drop any answer? What is the common column? No one knows the common column. Anyone? I hope you can see hear me. Okay, you guys can hear.
Yes.
Okay.
They've been dropping their
Okay.
answers. I'm not saying date.
Okay, in the comment section, I didn't see that. Oh, makes sense. Makes sense. I was thinking, my students are smart now. Dates. Oh, great. Okay, so the common column is what? Is the date. So I'm going to connect it. How do you connect? Simple. Just drag the common columns on top of themselves. Just drag it. That's all. Let me delete. Delete and do that again. You can do it any direction, right? Date, drag it on top of a date, because those are the common columns for these two. This one now, you've created connection between the two tables. You've created relationship between the two tables. What you've done now, as simple as it is what? Data modeling. Simple as ABC. Anywhere in the world, if you did this, they will say, if someone says, oh, Shil, please, can you show me your data model? I want to check something. I want to check your connections. I want to check how you do your relationships, Please, can you show me your data model? All you need to do is, if you have done your model in Excel, you just come, oh, no problem. You come correct too. You have to gingerlize what you've done. Don't commonize it. Oh, no problem. I'm a veteran in this Power Pivot thing. I'm going to show you now. And then you just go to your manage, Power Pivot, manage, model, and you come to home, and you come to diagram view. And then you say, oh, yeah, this is my model. You've done data modeling. You can see it's simple. You've done what? Data modeling. So the only difference is, if you have another table that has maybe an ID, let's say this is our revenue table that has product ID, and you have another product table, what do? You drag product ID over product ID in this table, just like I told you, primary key, foreign key. Now, let me ask someone. I want to see how brilliant you are. Where is the date is primary key to which of this table? Date is primary key to which of this table? Let me see who can think well. Date is primary key to which of this table? To the calendar or to the data table? Which date is primary to which of this table? Let me go read comments. See these students, such a smart set of students. Yes. So date is primary to the calendar table. Not to this. So that's it. We've modeled our data, and that is what I wanted to do. Now, that's one way. Another way you can model the data. So let me delete. Let's say you don't want to drag. You can also right-click on the table, and then do what? You can see the same English you saw when I was sharing my PowerPoint slide, that data modeling is all about creating relationship. You can also right-click and then say create relationship. It will bring this up. It will give you an option to click your first table. Anyone can be your first table. I can even click calendar as my first table. You see, it's showing first set of records in my calendar table, and then you click the next table, data. Oh, this is my second table. Instantly, the common columns, you just click it. For this is date, click date. You can click date, then you also click date here. And then you can see down here, make it what? Active. I want to make it active and say, okay, click OK. Let me do that again. You can see the same thing has been done. Let me delete. Right click on any of the table. Right click. Create relationship. pick your first table, pick your second table, click on the common columns common to both of them, date and date. Ensure active is checked, click OK, and it does that. You can see that dragging is easier. Just drag on top of each other and then iterate. Now, let me just quickly, before we go on break, let me just quickly introduce the concept of, someone should be asking, so can someone ask me this question? Something is showing here that is strange. Can someone identify that? Let me see if someone can identify that before. Udeme, my students, please tell Udeme, or is it Udeme? Oh, let me just say Okon. Tell Okon why our primary key is calendar. He came late, actually. That must be the case. Udeme, go and meet the goose in our class. Someone should be able, please someone answer him in the comment section. He's asking why is primary key to the calendar table. Tell him. Smart. Okay, so I was saying, okay, what is strange to this model? What is strange? Okay, because of our time, you notice something. You can see star, you can see 1. Star 1. You should be asking, why is this star 1? Why not 1 star? Why not 1 here then star here? What is happening? Now that takes us to what I'm going to briefly explain in simple terms. And that is what we call cardinality. What do I call it? Cardinality. These are things you'll be asked in interview if you go for analyst interviews. But if you're not an analyst, well, there's no need. But at least you are gaining this knowledge for your career progress and career growth. But you still need to know it. So what is cardinality? Cardinality is the number of occurrence of, in simple terms, number of occurrence of a value in a particular column. I will say that again. Number of occurrence of a value in a particular column. You won't see this definition anywhere in the world. Coined from Michael Adeyeye, 2021. Coined by Michael. So cardinality is simply the number of occurrence of a value in a column. Now you see that we have 3 types of cardinality. We have one, you remember your further math in secondary school. 1 to many in functions, many to 1, and what? Many to many. So we have 3, basically 3. 1 to many, many to 1, and then many to 1, and then 1 to many. Those 3. And then many to many, which is very rare. So now, what do I mean by one occurrence of a value in a particular column? Let me go back to data view. Now, you notice in my calendar here, this date can never appear, can never have a duplicate. 01/01/1965. You never see a duplicate of it in this calendar table. And that's to tell you that it only occurred once in the calendar table. But come here. What are you seeing already? This is 2013 01/01, 2013 01, multiple occurrence of the same dates in the data table. But in calendar, you cannot see 2013 2 times. 01/01 2013 2 times. No, you just only have one occurrence. Let's go there. 01/01 2013. Oh, no, if you go there, you see that it's just one occurrence. So that is where the concept of cardinality comes in. So cardinality, so the number of cardinals, so it's just 1. In this date table, the date only occurred 1. So that's why we have 1 here. Then in this date table here, the date occurred multiple times. A day can occur multiple times. That's why we have star here. I hope that is clear. Simple as ABC. That's cardinality. And that is the kind of model. So you can do a 1-to-1. So if I say 1-to-1, it means one occurrence, no duplicate in that table, no duplicate in the other table. But if you have 1 to star, means one occurrence here, many occurrence of a particular day. If you have 1 to star, one occurrence here, many occurrence in the other table. I hope that is clear. That is cardinality. And I have told us we have 3 types: 1 to many, many to 1, many to many, and 1-to-1. So, but basically, if someone says, please show me your model, this is your data model. You've built a model. So we're just going to do this small data model, and we are going to be good. Now we've covered the bulk part of our session. All right, let me go back to data view. And then the next thing we are going to be covering when we are back from break will be DAX. We've covered the data modeling part. Then the next thing will be DAX, meaning creating calculations now with our data. I hope that is clear. In the next 3 minutes, can I just enter any questions? We'll go on break by 11:55, correct? All right, questions before we are by 11:55 go on break. Any question before we go on break? When we are back, we take our final icebreaker and then a classwork. Someone is going to share the screen and walk me through all this. 1 or 2 persons. Pick randomly and then we go. Can you hear me, guys? I hope I'm audible. Tolu is saying I can't hear you.
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, so maybe your Tolu, your network. So when we are back, we take our icebreaker. Please share the attendance, moderator Celestine, please. So during break, just fill the attendance. Remember, if you don't fill the attendance, you see your name in the pairing, and of course, yeah. That's it. Then we take 1 or 2 exercises, and then we conclude with DAX. I hope we are good. Please share the attendance. So we are going to go on break now, 11:55. By 12:05, we are going to be back. I hope that is fine. 12:05, we're going to be back. Thank you, guys. See you by 12:05.
It's getting close. Now it's just once at most. When I fall down, to pick myself up. Champion, stand up, champions, 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 champions. All the champions. To be the best, number one, nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, oh, I believe. I know I can count on me. So stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Champions, for the champions. Here we go, it's getting close. Now it's just who wants it most. It's just like that's how it is. Cause we have our strengths and weaknesses. Oh, I have vision, can't you see? I'm on the move, make way for me. Stand up, champions, champions. Stand up. Champions, are the champions. Champions, are the champions. Stand up, are the champions. And when I fall down, to pick myself back up. When I fall down, to pick myself back up. When I fall down, to pick myself back up. When I fall down, to pick myself back up. I'm champion. Stand up, champions, champions. Stand up, champions, champions. Champions, champions. For the champions, for the champions. Stand up. To be the best, number one, nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, oh, I believe. I know I can count on. So stand up for the champions, for the champions. stand up, stand up. For the champions, all champions, stand up. For the champions, all champions. Champions, all champions. Here we go, it's getting close. Now it's just who wants it most. It's just like that's how it is. Cause we have our strengths and weaknesses. Oh, I have vision, can't you see? I'm on the move, make way for me. Stand up, champions, all the champions. Stand up. Champions, all the champions, champions, all champions, all champions, all champions. When I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. When I fall down, I pick myself back up. When I fall down, I pick myself back up. When I fall down, I pick myself up. I'm champion, I'm champion. I'm champion, I'm champion. Stand up. I'm champion, I'm champion. Stand up. I'm champion, I'm champion. I'm champion, I'm champion. For the champions, for the champions, stand up. 260 for my love, 260 for my love, love going to.
Let's come back, guys. Okay, guys. Okay. Let's come back. I hope you can all hear me. Please confirm in the comment section. Okay. Now let's take our last icebreaker, then we go to the class exercise. I've sent the data for the class exercise to the WhatsApp group. So someone is going to walk us through end-to-end what we've done today in just 10-15 minutes. Then we use the remaining minutes to perform some DAX. Okay. Please, I have 3 options here. Tell me one truth, one lie from these 3 options. What is the lie? Identify the lie from these 3 lists. You can password protect an Excel sheet to prevent editing. Excel can only create static charts, not interactive ones. The concatenate function is now replaced by concat and test join, which is a lie. I come again. You can password protect an Excel sheet to prevent editing. Excel can only create static charts, not interactive ones. The concatenate function is now replaced by concat and test join. Please, in the comment section, kindly drop which is a lie. Oh, my students are now sharp. They said 2 is a lie. The steps you took are only shown in the video. Yeah, which video is that? Okay, I don't get what you are saying, Joshua, anyway. I don't know. So, yeah, let's see if we are correct. Yes, you are correct. Excel can only create static chart and not interactive one. That's a lie. Excel can create interactive chart. You can protect your Excel with a password to prevent editing. Very correct. Concat is now replaced by concat and test join. Very correct. Yes, so now we are done with this. We can go ahead. I hope I'm still recording. Let me confirm that. Yes, still recording. Okay. Now, who is ready? Please just raise your hand. So let's simply coordinate. If you are ready to share your screen, if you are ensure that you've already downloaded that data I sent, you've opened it in your Excel, and then you are ready to walk us through. Who is ready? Who is ready? Who is ready to walk us through now? Raise your hand. Let me see your hands raised.
I think Rafiat is ready.
Okay, Rafiat, please share your screen. So, for those who said I don't get, so this is an opportunity for you to see Rafiat walk us through everything we've done today. Basically, what we've done today, Rafiat is going to walk us through now. Rafiat, please share your screen. He's here to share.
I think we also have Samuel. Samuel Arms is also up too.
Okay, Samuel, you can go ahead if Rafiat is not ready.
Samuel can go ahead, please. I think you need to allow them to share.
Okay, yeah, I've allowed you. Samuel, share. Samuel, we are waiting. Are you ready? Samuel, ready like this? It's an opportunity for you to crystallize and cement what you've learned. So, okay, Samuel is about to share. Unmute and share. Okay. Unmute. Samuel, we can't hear you. Say yes. I already sent. Okay.
Samuel, you can speak now.
Okay, so this is my data. So it's not. So I think I'll upload my data using the fourth technique. Select all data from table range. Okay.
Please slow down a bit so that others can also pick.
Okay. No, sorry.
You are good now. Okay, you want to go back again? Okay.
Yes. Analyze my table, then go to my pivot table, add to the data model. So this is my data model. Yeah. And then for me to do the data here.
So go to, so what I want you to do first now, go back to Excel.
Okay.
So what I want to do first now is remember that we said for this data to work for you, for you to be able to create model, you need to create additional data for month and year. So let's go and do that in Power Query.
So this is the data. So I'll upload. I'll get data from table range.
No, you didn't select the table. You didn't select
Oh
the
yeah,
table.
yeah.
Close it from top. Yes. Discard. So go to your table, your main table, highlight it. Data, table range.
I needed to add the
Can you shift this sharing your screen to the top? Down. Down.
Is it okay this way?
Yeah, it's okay. Okay,
So I needed to add duplicate these. Then I can also this is my
What are you looking for now?
I need to change the value to 1.
So don't do it that way. So go to transform.
And okay, transform.
And then you go to add column. After transform, you have add column. After transform, you have add column. After transform, beside transform, yeah. Then you custom column. Please, if you are not getting it, this is an opportunity to get it. It's 1. Hit enter. Duplicate. So you have to delete the one you created first. I hope we are following. Is it noise from your hand somewhere?
Yes, I can. Yes.
You have to do that day as well.
This is
Delete that day. That first day, you have to delete. Yeah, delete that one. You don't need it. Remove column. Remove the second point. Remove. Just up. Copy. After copy, remove. Yeah. Okay.
So this is my day, then this is my month, right?
Mm-hmm. Hit enter. They rename it. You can double tap to rename, but it's good. Okay. Created the date. What do you do next?
My year is not there, so
Don't worry. First of all, convert this to date first. Let's see. Convert this to
okay.
date. You do that. So speak through as you are doing it so that.
Okay, yeah, I need to change this to date, so I go to my date format. This,
Yeah, it's the date now. Change that match to date. Double tap. Just double tap. Okay. So your year is no longer there now. How do you bring it back? Just go to like maybe 2 or 3 steps before the final step. 2 or 3 steps. Okay, or you can even do it from there too. Yeah, you can do it from there too. Then you duplicate your day, your year of make. Yeah. I hope we are following. Duplicate the fourth one. Yeah. Insert. Great. Then you can go to your final step back. Okay. It's good that you have this kind of error. Just go up one step. Just go one step. That's the step. Till you see where the error started from. You see, that's how you troubleshoot. Is a good one. It's saying so when you have already duplicated before. So what you can do is just change the name of that copy. Change it to here there.
I think the date has gone. The data added has gone off.
Don't worry,
It's
it
not
has not
longer
gone.
here.
Date is in your final step. Date is in your final
Okay.
step. It's not gone. You are in the third step now. Rename this one to, let's say, year first. Yeah. Click enter. Insert. Okay, go to the next step. Go to the next step. That's let's see if that error is still there. You can see the error is no longer there. You can see why it gave you that error. Can you tell me why it gave you that error? Because you are inserting a step that says year of make copy. You are still doing year of make copy again. We already did that when you started, so that's why it gave you an error. But since you rename back to year now, I hope we are following. Since you rename back to year now, it's not giving you that error. So go to your final step now. I think you shouldn't have any issue. Final step. The final step. You can see now, date format, your year is there. Do you get it? Is it clear?
Yes.
What's the
So
next thing?
I have to load store.
Home. Close and what? The second one. Close and load to. Great. Then you click yes, great. And add to data model. Perfect. Great. Your data appears here. Eight rows loaded. You can see nothing happened, right? How do you now go to your model?
I go to my model file.
Power pivot. No. Go to power
Load
pivot.
local.
Yeah.
So power
Then you manage. Yeah. Great. Okay, so this is a table. Why do you have 2 tables there? Because you did not name your table. So go back to data view. Go to data view here, just by diagram view. Here, in this environment, where you are, that data view.
Okay.
Which this table 2.1 is the new one. So delete that table 2. Yes,
I have
yes.
to delete.
Yeah. Why are you able to delete? You are able to delete because that table 2 is not where?
It's not in the Power Pivot.
Power Query. It's not coming from Power Query.
Okay.
That's why you're able to delete. Guys, I hope we are following. I expect anyone that did not get it now to get it. Now, what is the next thing? Aha. Create what? The next thing for you since you have it.
So create the date.
Date table.
Date
Where do
table,
you do
yeah.
that?
So
You go to design.
uh,
Yes. Click on that drop down. Click on it. New. Yeah. Go back to home so that we can see it very well. Go back to home and then data view so that we can see data view. Data, yeah. You see now? What is the next thing to do?
it's to do the connection.
Connection. Create relationship. Diagram view.
The
Yeah.
relationship.
Great. Perfect. Shift that table to the side. Shift that calendar to the side. Drag it to the side. Yes. Drag. No, so click on that top. Okay, anyone. Yeah, anyone. Yeah. So that's it. Expand it a bit. Let's see all the columns in the calendar. Yeah, great. I hope that is clear. Okay, you can stop sharing. Thank you so much. This is all that we've discussed since. I hope this is clear, guys. I hope this is clear, guys. Let me know in the comment section. I hope this is clear. I want to believe this has helped us. Okay. Can we proceed now, guys? Please let me know in the comment section. Can we proceed now? Okay. Joshua said yes. Of course now. Power BI is even the household where you do that more extensively, But it's just that Excel can also do same. So yeah. Okay, it is clear now. Let me say it's clear now. Are we good, guys? I want more comment before I proceed now. Okay. Yeah, the same way too, just the same way exactly. No, for create is in Power BI is the same way, but you have to create those other columns yourself. But you can just get to this class does not cover that scope, but it's the same thing. Sure. Okay, Mayawa says that you can consider. Your close and load isn't available. You can someone help Sumi Tosin. Why is it not available? Is because your data is already in Power Pivot. I mentioned it. It's already in Power Pivot. So if you close and load, it will show that it's already in Power Pivot. It's already in the model. So that's why. So you can start afresh with a new Excel, and you have that. Okay. So let me mute everyone so that we have the column. Okay. Yeah. Let me share my screen now. Please confirm when you can see my screen. Please confirm where you can see my screen. Can we all see my screen? Okay, thank you. Right, so the next thing we want to do now is to create formulas. Remember I told you DAX is all about creating formulas. So I just want us to do quite some formulas now. The first thing I want us to create is total revenue, or let's say total cost or total price. Let's say total price. Total price. You come, so this side here, let me also, this side here, you can shift this, you can see what I did there. There is a cardinal sign here that you can shift, drag up, drag down. Most times it's very good to create your measures in your data one. Create your measures in your data one. Not, or let me just say in your main table, not in your calendar table. So then you can shift it up. Any of this area is good for your measure. So I'm starting, you can pick anyone. Let me delete this. Let me just start from anywhere. You're going to come to this formula bar up here and type in your formula. Let's say, for example, I want to calculate total price. Total price is simply what? Sum of what? The price column. Abi? Now, in DAX, data analysis expression, how you create DAX formula is by, not just by equal to alone, you use colon equal to. Use what? Colon equal to. Then you start your formula. Sum. Now, if I type sum, you can see what I'm saying. If I type sum now, look at what I'm saying. These are, what you are seeing here is they are all DAX expression. This is sum, this is summarized, this is summarized columns, this is sum X, a lot of them. But for this, we are just doing sum. Sum our what? Now, one thing I want to explain, the next thing I want to, immediately I open that bracket, what do you see? You are seeing different columns. Now, your column is always preceded by the table name. Let me say that again. Your column is, so the difference between your column and your measure. I've not mentioned measure. Measure is new. Let me not go there. So your column is preceded by what? Your table name. So meaning column date under table calendar. Column color under table what? Data one. Column price under table what? Data one. So that's how you identify columns here. Remember in Excel, what do? You just sum and then you go and highlight that column. Cell A1 to A20. But in this case, you don't need to highlight all the cells. You just call the name of the column and then that solves it. In this case, the name of our column is what? Price. The table is data one. So this is how you see column names. You can either, so you can see, you can either double tap and then that column will appear. Or when you are typing, let's say you are saying, I want to get price now, for example, price. I'm looking for column price. If you come up, you can also enter tab to complete it. Instead of typing everything, just say tab. It will help you bring out the whole column and then you close. Now, this is how you are able to create your FX DAX. Hit enter. When you hit enter, you have created a DAX formula. You have created what? A DAX formula. You can see it, I'm expanding. So meaning, if you sum everything in this column here, this is what we're going to give you. But this is not looking nice, Abi. We can format it by adding comma. I'm going to add comma. You can see I've added comma. I'm going to remove the decimal point by pressing this. This is to increase decimal point. This is to reduce decimal point. I'm reducing. I will just tap. Oh, what's wrong? Okay, let me reduce one more time. I've pressed it too many times. That's why. Okay, so you can see this is out 102 billion. Abi, that's the total price. That's it, how you create your DAX formula. Now, the name of this, what we call our formulas in DAX is what we call measure. What we call what? Measure. The name of our DAX in the name of our formulas in DAX is what we call measures. Before I proceed, I'm just going to mention two things. Measures are of two types. We have, but don't bore yourself. I'm just giving you this information just for you to know. Measures are of two types. We have implicit measure and we have explicit measure. What is implicit? Implicit, let me write it. Implicit measure and explicit measure. What is the difference? Implicit measure is saying the calculation or the function that you wrote yourself. That is explicit measure. I wrote this formula myself. This one now, for example, we wrote it ourselves. Total price, sum, data, and then price. That is explicit measure. But when you don't write it yourself, remember in Excel, if you do pivot table, remember when who did that pivot? Was it Ituno or Samuel? You know, that did that pivot table that we did this morning. You know, he just dragged color to values, and instantly Excel helped him to convert that to what? Count of colors instantly, and he did the count. He did not write the formula by saying equals to count and highlight the column. No, Excel automatically generated that count formula for him. Remember, if you had also dragged price to value, it will just do sum for him. That is what we call implicit measure. Implicit measure is that the engine, the Excel engine or the tool engine automatically help you create the formula. I hope it's clear. While explicit is the one you created yourself. As simple as that. So, meaning, what kind of measure have we done so far? Can you help me? My people, can you help me? What kind of measure did I just create now? Is it implicit measure? Okay, or explicit? Yes, great. This is explicit measure. So the name of that DAX now. So meaning, if someone tells you, oh, how many measures do you have in your formulas? Oh, I've created like one. So far, we've created just one measure. Now let's go ahead and create another measure. Another measure I want to create now will be, let's say, for example, I want to say count of cars. I'm going to come down. You can remember, you can click on anywhere to start creating your measure. Anywhere. For me, I just want to come here. And I'm going to, the name of my measure now is count of cars. The beautiful thing, what other thing do you notice about creating measure using DAX? Another beautiful thing about DAX now is that you have the choice to name your measure. Remember when Samuel dragged color to values? When he dragged it, it becomes count of color. What did he do? After he has filtered for the first, the most common car color, he now went to the column header and then typed and then double click to rename that count of color to what? The most common color. You see another advantage of DAX now, measures. It does not have that opportunity for implicit measure now. It does not have that opportunity to name it at the beginning. You have to go change it. But for explicit measure like this, you have the opportunity to name your DAX whatever you want it to be. So for this, I'm naming it count of cars. And then how do you count of cars? Just to count the number of titles. So equals to count. Remember, before you can start creating measures, you have to put colon equal to. That's when the formulas will come in. These are DAX formulas now. Count A, count AS, count black. You can go research what this means, right? But I'm going to just quickly explain some of them. Count A is when you are counting text. Count AX when you are multiplying the count. Count blank if you want to count the number of blanks. Count rows, you want to count the rows. Distinct count else, you know, a lot of them. But this, we just want to count. And let's just count color or anyone. You can even count title. And the number of cars. Now, if we have an ID, let's say car ID, that would have been what we will count to know the number of cars. Please note that if we have an ID, it will have been the best to count. But since we don't have, we are going to count the title. You can see it's giving me an error because every column name is preceded by the table name. So title, this one is what I'm supposed to pick. And remember, how can you pick it? It's either you double tap, pam, or you come here and then click on it and then press tab on your system and then close it. That gives us the other measure. Now I want to create one more measure, or two more. Now, if I'm to create the distinct type of cars, distinct type of, this one is just telling me count of cars. What does it mean? Meaning everything that people posted on bad GG, all right, for that particular period is just 3,959 cars. So it's just like saying, for example, if they say if Mr. A came to if you ordered on GG on Jumia now, for example, on Jumia you ordered for goods, you ordered chocolate in the morning, you ordered chocolate in the afternoon, you ordered chocolate in the night, and Mr. B also ordered another thing, maybe twice. How many orders did you have that day? You ordered 3 things, you ordered 3 different things in the same day, and another person ordered 2 different things the same day. How many orders was made that day? Can someone help me? In the comment. Okay, thank you. 5. So you made 5 orders, meaning that is what this count is doing. But if you want to do how many people ordered from your store that day? How many people ordered? How many people ordered from the store? 2. Thank you. So in that case, what do? You do a distinct count of customers. So for this one now, if I say counts of cars, I'm saying how many cars were posted. But when I now say distinct count now. Distinct counts of cars. That means I'm saying how many different variety of cars. How many variety of cars do we even have on that? So the unique count. So in that case, I'm going to use the formula. Remember, it is colon equal to then distinct. Even before you finish your type it to show up distinct count. Then you can count anything. Let's count title again. Remember, I can complete this, and then this gives me the distinct count of cars. Let's see, what's the distinct count of cars? Oh, you can see, meaning there are 2,718 different cars on the platform, but meaning some cars were posted. Maybe there are different years here. Meaning maybe someone posted the same Corolla in 2013, and then another person posted the same Corolla in 2020. So a car can occur twice. The same brand can occur twice. That's what this means. But distinctly, all the cars we have there is just 2,718 brands. Just for example, so this is another measure. I'm going to create one more measure, and that will be the whole. So you can go read a bit more about DAX, but at least this is what you need to at least to get an understanding, right? So the last one I'm going to create now is, let's say how many. Remember what we did? What's his name? Samuel did. I said which car had the most common car color, and he did pivot table, and then he did some filtering. He went to filter that funnel that he clicked on. Like click on like a funnel like this, and then he said value filter, and then he said top 10. I changed it to top 1, if you remember, and then he said okay. And when he did that, he discovered that black had the highest. That is filtering. Now in your DAX, you can also filter directly. You can also do what? Filter directly. And how do we do that? So I'm going to, let's say I want to get the number instead of filtering manually. I can do that. So let's say I want to get the number of foreign used cars. So that's the next DAX I want to create, right? So I'm going to say count of foreign used cars, count of foreign used. That's why DAX is powerful. Now I'm going to, so I can't just say count, I can't just say count again, because count will just do the normal count. I need to find a way to filter. Now, one DAX function that allows you to filter is what we call the calculate. Calculate function. This guy this calculate DAX function is the most powerful, right? One of the, let me just say, one of the most powerful DAX function. Because you can see even the expression, it takes expression and then filter. Just like you have in Excel where you have your formula guiding you. How many arguments? These are argument 1, argument 2. So this is expression, this is filter. You can see it's even telling you filter 1, meaning you can do what? You can filter more than one thing. So in this case now, what is my expression? Expression is what what I want to do is count of foreign use cars. So my expression will be the count of cars first. Then my filter will now be limit to foreign use cars. Let me repeat that again. Expression will be the count of cars. Because I want to limit to only foreign use cars, I will now say filter foreign use cars. So let's go. My expression will now be count. Right, let me do this, but I'm still going to show you something. Count of cars. And you pick your title. Don't do that to me. And you close that bracket. You've done that expression. Comma. Remember in Excel too, that boldness will shift to the next argument. It has done that. It has shifted from here because we have finished the expression. We are now in filter. Now, what do you want to filter? You want to filter where type is what? Foreign use. Type. If you type double tap what? Press tab equals to what? You now put it in quotes. Put it in quotes. Foreign, the way it is written, you have to write it the way it's written. Foreign use is written this way. So I'll write it that way as well. And then you close the bracket. Now we've entered the expression and then the filter to only foreign use. You see the power of DAX, hit enter. And then you can see, let me put comma. You can see automatically this has helped us to filter to only foreign use. So instead of having to do it manually, you can create a DAX measure to do that filtering for you. I want to remove those 0, 0, 1, 2. You see, this is getting interesting. Don't worry, that's where we are stopping. Don't get it twisted. Now, let me just show us something. Now, instead of having to create this same, I'm going to edit this. Instead of having to say count of date, count of title. Remember, we've done that. That's what we did there in the count of cars. So this is one other beautiful thing about measures. Instead of having to write this again, I can delete this and just go back and call that measure which I've created before, count of cars. Count of cars. You can see. Now, that is the difference between a column and a measure. Remember, I told you a column. How do you see a column in your DAX? A column is preceded by the name of the table it is coming from. It is preceded by the name of the table it is coming from. But for a measure is standalone. It is going to stand on its own. Count of cars. You can see it. And then enclosed in a square bracket. So this is a measure now. It's different from a table. If it were to be a table column, you have the table name and then the column. Please note that difference. So instead of writing that measure again, I can reuse it. I can just say count of cars, and it's still going to be the same thing. I hope we are pressed for time. That's maybe I'll take question at the end of the class, right? This is beautiful. Now I think I should create one more measure. Let me create. Let's do the total price when the price is higher than 100,000. 100,000. Let's see what is the total. How much do you even make? You want to say, okay, let's say for example, let's come to analytics now. Someone is telling you, wow, we made $1 million today. We made $1 million today. And you as the CEO, you are happy. Now, you as the analyst, or depending, even that's why I said this course is not just for analysts. Remember, if you're an accountant or anything and you are bringing in extra to the company, you know, the company values that a lot. And you're saying, CEO, don't be happy. We need to know which kind of car gave us that 1 million. You know, it might just be one Lamborghini and maybe one limousine. Maybe they made 2 sales from limousine. The rest were just low-level cars. Maybe they now made 2 sales of limousine and then maybe like 2 more low-level cars. Meaning, as a company, although you made $1 million, but $800,000 is coming from just 2 cars. The remaining $200,000 is coming from 3 cars. Meaning, for that particular day, you made sales from 5 cars. Are you growing as a company or you are not growing? What is the answer? Are you growing as a company if you made just 5 sales? Are you growing as a company? Can someone ask? Tell me. Are you growing as a company if you made, although you made $1 million, but from just 5 cars? Are you growing? You are not growing as a company that way. So that is where analytics come in. Because on the high level, you have money. But are you expanding? Are you growing? No. Just made 5. Why? When you should be talking about, so that is why, I'm saying that because this kind of metrics now make sense. How much did we make from cars that are above 100,000? So let me just do that now. I'm going to come here and say total price data type from total price above 100,000. 100,000. And then semicolon equal to, and then I'm going to use, remember what does calculate does? Calculate helps you to filter. Just understand that, because if I should go deep into calculate, you might get confused. But on the high level, it helps you to filter your table. That's why calculate is very good. You don't need to, you can filter through your table using calculate, basically. So expression, remember, we've already calculated total price. So instead of having to write sum, and then instead of saying sum and then saying total price, instead of doing this, instead of doing price, instead of doing sum and then price, instead of doing this, I can just call my measure that I've created already, which is total price. I'll just say total price. You can see now my measure will come out now. You can see it's total price. I'll double tap, and then I will now pass in my filter. Or let's make it 2 filters. Where price is above 100,000 and color is white. For example, let's just see how 2 filters work. You can see we are on filter 1 now. So the first one is, I will just say where price is greater than 100,000. We say is above, so 100,000. We are done with that. This is filter 1. If I put comma now, something happens. It opens up for what? Filter 2. These 3 dots at the end means you can add as many filters as possible. So I'm adding the errors filter now. And when color is what? You put it in quotes. Text are put in quotes. Why? Why text are put in quotes? Why numbers don't need to be put? You can see that 100,000 I didn't put it in quotes, but for test, I'm putting it in quotes because tests are always put in quotes. And then I will close my bracket and will hit enter. So this has filtered my data. They'll say, okay, filter only to when price is greater than 100,000, and filter for color where it is only white. And the sum of the value for that is, you can see, okay, so can someone put in through how to do that? It's not hard. It's just to come to, after you have add these 2 guys, data 1 and calendar, click on any part of your data. Click on anywhere here and then start writing your DAX. Come to this formula, start creating your DAX like we've done here. Okay, because of our time, let me just stop the DAX in here. Right, so this I've created 5 DAX now. Now, how do you use it? Next week, Jones will talk on that, but let me just quickly chip in that now. All right. Yeah, so Jones will touch on that. So, but now that we've created our DAX, we have modeled our data is connected, everything is speaking to each other. Then I can come back to home. I can then insert a pivot table. You can come here and say pivot table, then you insert a pivot table. You can see it. Tell you, do you want to insert it in a new sheet or existing sheet? Let's go to a new sheet, right? So that we start on a clean slate. Now look at this. It has inserted pivot table. But you see something now. Remember our data is what? Data 1, Abby? Look at it. These are measures. You can see it's different. Now, remember, if I drag in color, what happens? You can see count of colors. But with measures, you don't need that. We already created measures. You just start dragging and dropping. Let's, for example, you can drag to your rows, title, and then come to total price. Instantly, you see. You don't need to come here and head it again. It gives you. I can come here and say, okay, total price above 100,000 that we did last time. You see, these are the ones, these are the brands that has above 1,000 and the color is white. You can see, look at this one. You can see this is white. See, powerful, white. See, white. For the other ones, it didn't put anything. Powerful, this is that. Let's say count of cars, you drag it. You can just drag in as many things. This is what we are talking about. This is what we are talking about. You can do distinct. You can still duplicate this pivot table. Control C, Control V. Let's drag out all these ones. Let's say I just want to know the number of distinct cars. You see, straight distinct cars. Count of foreign used. You see. So this can be like my cards. If you see all those Excel dashboard, you can see just the distinct kind of cars, count of foreign used cars. These are just like my cards now. You touch that later in your. You can bring in filter. I can come to insert. Don't worry, all this will be touched when you are you know. I can come here and insert. Okay, let's say type. Okay. Insert a filter, and you see that now you can see what is happening. Is connected. You can see when I click on local, this one changed to what? 1006 foreign use. You see, great. It's connected. It's speaking to each other. Beauty of. I can delete this. Don't worry, all this one will be taught next week. That's what we are doing next week. But I'm just trying to do like introduction. I can come here and say, okay, let me insert timeline, the date. You see, don't worry, all this will be touched so that you don't. I can say, okay, in July, what do we make? 2024. I don't know where the data, the year data is for. I think we have some 2023. It's because we don't have some. Maybe what we have is more of 20. Let me just say years alone. You can see 45 in 2023. You can see that this is changed. Look what this. You can see that both of them are changing as I'm moving. They are changing. That's the beauty. So your data keeps changing. What did we do in 2023? What did we do in 2020? Using the date filter. All right. So that is that about that. That is how about that. Let me bring back my pivot table by showing feed list. You see, and then you see all my measures. Yes. If you want to edit this measure, let's say you made a mistake, you can either go back to your power pivot, or you can just right click and then say edit measure. This one comes up. You can see that measure that we created. You can edit the name of the measure. Maybe you want to add prices. You want to, you see instantly it's changed total prices. All right. So I know when by the time you just revise through this part, maybe I'm a bit fast on this part because of your time, but if you rewatch through the video, I believe you get it. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. But I want to believe it's been a very great session today. I want to believe. Please, questions in the next few minutes. Just let's ask our questions. Let's ask our questions. I want to believe it's a great class so far. Yeah. Thank you. Questions. Okay, someone said, what is the application of data model in relationship we created earlier? So the application is that now is because you see it in the next class, but the application is, you can see that when I brought out a date filter, it is filtering to the data. So just is communicating. It is filtering to, although date is coming from another table, but it's filtering to the data one. So they are connected now. You don't need to use VLOOKUP. You don't use, you don't need to use all the SLOOKUP and everything. The data, both tables are now connected. They can speak to themselves. You can select 2013 in calendar and it will show you the total sales in 2013 from your table. Perfect, massive, just next week we elaborate more on that when you are building your dashboard. And that's going to, your project, make it very serious. Like I said, share it on LinkedIn, make it, start doing other projects from there. And trust me, you can get, if you are pivoting to data analytics, you can get a data analyst job just by knowing knowing that, by knowing how to create those dashboards, do all those analysis, all the classes we've taught you. And if you want to apply it in your current work, fantastic, you're also good to go. All right, that's it. I have a Mac version of Excel and having a hard time locating the power pivot. You can't use Mac version. So I told us, please try, and it's a sacrifice. It's a free training. So the little money, you can just do 1 month. It's a 1 month training. Just do 1 month, 7,100 Microsoft 365. Subscribe to it. Just 1 month, 7,500. It's not much for a sacrifice to know. All these things, you might not know the value now. I don't know, but I know some of us know the value. But you can never go wrong, irrespective of your career. What other question? I did that, but any function somewhere it did not come up. So if you are doing what I'm doing, maybe you did not add colon. If you don't add colon, it will not come up. All right, please, can someone put me through how to do that? Maybe if you do a rewatch, you should get that. I don't know any other question. I think we are good. It's a good time to stop. If you have not filled the attendance, let me drop that again. Please do so. Let me share it again in case, because please don't come to me and ask for attendance. If you don't see your name in the pairing for your assignment, the assignment will be shared on the group. But I know everybody will score it. We get it right because we already did the demo here. And yes, someone also walked us through, and I believe we should be fine. So I'm going to send the assignment. Please fill the attendance. Thank you so much, everyone. Do have a nice day, and hope to see you in the next class, the final class next week.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Watch the video.